It's a great honor to be able to introduce a good friend and a great public servant. John Lowe, you've been both a great manager of this city's finances, but also great for the working people of this city. I do know that you've gone to one of our SUNY schools, SUNY Binghamton, and that is a great thing because we have a wonderful state university system. And that particular school, you should know, is rated #1 in public colleges by Kiplinger's. So this is something that we all need to be proud of and continue to support. As a teacher of 24 years, one of the toughest lessons I ever had to give was having my class open up the newspaper and look at what was going on in politics. And it's even very much true today, now that I'm at NYSUT, taking Alan Lubin's place. And by the way, he's in Las Vegas raising his own funds, okay? So don't follow in his example. But we just
thought he was on assignment to the West Coast.
On assignment to the West Coast. So we just want to thank you for your credibility, your honesty, and your integrity, and I give you John Lowe.
Thank you very much, Andrew, for that very kind introduction. And it's great to be with all of you once again. Always so happy to jam with the great Tom DiNapoli here at the Hard Rock Cafe. You know, no better way to start off the morning. And next time, if you'll have us back, I'll take the guitar and Tom will take the bass. How's that? But and Dave Pollock, that's right. It's been quite a year so far, actually coming up on a year that I have had the extreme privilege of being New York City Comptroller. I wake up every day gratified for yet another day to serve the city of New York, the city that has given me and my family so many opportunities, and a city for which I have committed and dedicated the rest of my life to expanding opportunities. It's a job that you actually never know what happens. I'll tell you, when I first took office earlier this year, January 4th, I think, was the first Monday I got into the office. There's a huge pile of checks on my desk waiting to be signed. It took me all day and all night to sign all of those checks. Came back the next morning, and guess what? Another pile of checks waiting to be signed. I was like, what did I sign up for? Well, let me tell you, the office let me go an entire month before showing me that there's actually a machine that can sign my signature. Boy, there are a bunch of practical jokers in the comptroller's office. But nonetheless, it has been an incredible year so far, not always easy, made easier, though, because of the tutelage that Tom DiNapoli gave me a year ago, right after I was elected, and he really sat me down and told me all of the stuff that I needed to know about the city and the state. And so I'm always gratified to our state comptroller, Tom DiNapoli, personally, as well as what he has done for our state, and incredibly happy that he has been reelected to another 4 years as our state's chief fiscal officer. You never know what happens. So we've walked the subways, we've conducted sessions like this. It's just been an incredible ride. And of course, there are other things that are part of the formal duties of what comptrollers do. My friend Jerry just handed me this newspaper. Lighting the menorah, it is a very critical function of what comptrollers do, lighting the menorah. In any event, this organization, Lou, I want to thank you, and I want to thank Alan in his absence. I want to thank Bruce and Andrew and all of the people who make Balcony work so well for a few years now. In just a few short years, Balcony has really made an incredible impact on New York State and New York City. So thanks for your continuing work and bringing us all together. And in fact, you can see in the audience there's an incredible leadership, business, labor, and otherwise represented in this very forum. I'm delighted to bring a report about Wall Street, its impact on New York City, particularly, I mean, Wall Street. When we say Wall Street, we're generally referring to the financial sector, which technically includes a lot more than just Wall Street. In fact, the finance industry is one of New York City's signature industries. It has been for about 150 years. And although finance and insurance sectors account for about 10% of all private payroll jobs in the city, they generate about 35% of the wage and salary income in New York City's private sector. Now, due to this outsized economic presence, it also generates a disproportionate share of the city's tax revenues. We estimate that the industry is directly responsible for about 15% of the city's total tax revenues in a given year. Now, that figure includes corporate taxes, personal income taxes, real estate taxes on commercial buildings occupied by these finance firms, commercial rent taxes, and the likes. If you include indirect taxes generated, such as sales taxes on items purchased by finance industry workers for their personal consumption, and real estate taxes paid by those workers on their personal residences, that figure probably is closer to 20%. That means that in fiscal 2010, the industry probably generated something over $7 billion in tax revenues for the city, and that doesn't even include related services such as legal, accounting, travel, and accommodations, and all the other industries that are indirectly supported by the finance sector. The press often talks about the size of Wall Street bonuses and their implications for the city's personal income tax revenues, PIT revenues. Usually, such articles begin appearing around this time every year. In fact, Wall Street bonuses do generate significant tax revenues for New York City. We estimate that each $1 billion of cash bonuses paid to finance sector workers translates into about $20 million of city PIT, personal income tax revenues. That means that the financial sector bonuses generated about $500 million in PIT for the city last year. But you can also see that PIT revenues from bonuses are really only a small part of the total tax revenues the industry actually generates. Since the crisis, there has been a great deal of attention paid to the compensation practices of Wall Street firms. Stockholders, Congress, regulators, economists, and even the ordinary man in the street have expressed opinions about how compensation practices affect risk-taking by Wall Street firms and how it affects broader financial system stability. In response, some financial firms have reformed their compensation practices, awarding a greater percentage of their year-end bonuses as restricted stock or in some other non-cash form. That has short-term implications for the city, as in general recipients of restricted stock do not pay taxes on it immediately, and sometimes not for years. Moreover, many people argue that the bonuses paid to Wall Street workers are too large entirely whatever form they are paid in and should be curtailed. That puts New York City government in a rather awkward position. In one sense, we want to see large bonuses. That means that the residents of the city who work in the industry are prospering, and that prosperity is somehow probably rippling out to every industry throughout the neighborhoods. And it's good for city tax revenues. And it means that we can pay for more teachers and policemen and roads and parks. On the other hand, though, we want to see compensation practices implemented that promote the long-term growth and stability of the financial sector. If compensation practices incentivize excessive risk-taking, that leads to more boom and bust cycles like we saw in the past decade, and that's not good for the industry, and it's certainly not good for New York City. That same dilemma affects our overall perspective on financial regulatory reform, which our office has followed closely. On the one hand, we don't want to see anything hinder financial industry prosperity and profitability, and certainly not if its purpose is punitive. On the other hand, we want to see reforms that contribute to the industry's long-term stability and growth. We're generally optimistic about the reforms that have taken place, specifically regarding derivative trading.